Most Alabama homeowners think that FEMA flood insurance is enough to protect your property. What if I told you it's not enough? Let's just look back at the 2022 flood that happened in Birmingham, Alabama. You had devastation in areas like Vestavia, Hoover, Alabama, Pelham, Alabaster. Interstates turned into rushing rivers. And it was at this time when many homeowners in Alabama discovered that FEMA flood insurance wasn't enough. But as an Alabama homeowner, you have access to excess flood insurance. And today, we're going to show you why you need to take out excess flood insurance on top of your FEMA flood insurance policy. So let's get started. But before we do, remember, share, subscribe, and like the channel. Hi, I'm Chris, the flood insurance guru. More than 12 years ago, I bought a house in a flood zone just like this right here. And you see, I was told premiums were going to be $3,000 when they should have been $300. I thought I had the right flood insurance and coverage in place. I had taken out a FEMA policy, thinking that, hey, this is the best coverage I can get. It's my only option. But then I discovered that my home was not even covered for replacement costs. And that's when I discovered as an Alabama homeowner that FEMA flood insurance was not enough for me. Today, we're talking about then, how do you protect your property if FEMA flood insurance is not enough? Before we can understand that, though, we've got to understand the basics of FEMA flood insurance in Alabama. We've got to talk about things like building coverage and contents coverage. We've got to talk about even pricing. So let's talk about this a little bit. First of all, when it comes to building coverage in Alabama, the Federal Emergency Management Agency offers up to $250,000 through the National Flood Insurance Program on your building, and they offer up to $100,000 on your personal contents. Remember, this is your personal belongings, like things like your couch, your clothes, and things like that. That's all that's offered there. So then, those are the coverages there with the FEMA. Well, how's pricing determined in Alabama with the Federal Emergency Management Agency or the National Flood Insurance Program? Well, since Risk Rating 2.0 came out in Alabama in 2021, flood zones are no longer used to determine flood rates in Alabama with the federal program. Instead, they use things like distance to water, the type of structure, replacement costs, elevation of a building, flooding frequency, and the type of flooding, and all of these different things that go into a pool now to determine that rate. So now that we understand the basics of FEMA, let's talk about what you can do as an Alabama homeowner to give yourself this extra protection. So what is excess flood insurance coverage? Well, technically, excess flood insurance coverage is just a private flood insurance policy on top of your national flood insurance program. So if you got a home here that has a replacement cost of $500,000, the National Flood Insurance Program is maxing that out at $250,000. An excess policy could come in and give you that additional $250,000. It could potentially also give you things like additional living expenses that the National Flood Insurance Program does not offer. Now, you could technically just take out a private policy instead of taking out a National Flood Insurance Program policy, but a lot of private companies won't insure a certain coastal risk for the full risk. And that's where the benefits of an excess flood insurance coverage policy in Alabama come into play. So with these additional coverages, you're getting the protection your Alabama home needs. So then why does FEMA fall short on this flood insurance? Remember, flood insurance through the federal insurance program, it's not designed to make you whole again. It's not designed to fully replace your building. It's really just there to give you something up to that $250,000. Also, remember, one reason it falls short is this program was built in the 60s and the 70s, and coverages probably haven't really been updated that much since then. Here in 2024, as we shoot this video, the average cost of a home in Alabama could be $300,000-$400,000, sometimes more. While 30 years ago, that might have been $150,000 to $175,000. So this is where that coverage split comes into play. This is why it falls short, is they're not a private company. They're not for profit. They're not designed to make customers whole again. And this is where this excess flood insurance coverage and private flood insurance come into play. So if you're an Alabama homeowner, you're trying to figure out, hey, how do I properly protect myself by taking out a National Flood Insurance Program policy and an excess policy together? Click in the description of this video. We'll walk you through exactly how to do that. You can also click up here in the corner of this video to watch our playlist on what is excess flood insurance coverage to get a deeper dive into that. I'm Chris, the flood insurance guru, and I want to say thank you for watching today's video on why FEMA flood insurance policies are falling short in Alabama. I look forward to speaking to you in our next video. Thank you.